For a brief moment, our eyes met. Time seemed to stop. Ryan held my gaze for a second before quietly looking away, turning back toward the calm lake as if nothing had happened. He sat beneath the old willow tree surrounded by silence. This part of the campus felt hidden from the rest of Ravenhill University. There were no students nearby, only the gentle breeze, the rustling leaves, and the soft ripples dancing across water. I stood where I was, unsure of what to do. Should I go? Maybe he wanted to be alone. Maybe I should simply walk away. I tightened my grip on my bag and looked at him once more. There was something about the quiet way he sat by the lake that made it impossible to leave. If I walked away now, I'd spend the rest of the day wondering why he was crying. Before I could change my mind, I took a deep breath and started walking. Each step felt heavier than the last. When I finally reached him, I stopped a few feet away. The breeze drifted across the lake, filling the silence between us. I looked at him, gathered my courage, and prepared to speak. Ryan? His eyebrows lifted slightly. Yeah, my name is Liana. He stared at me for a moment before offering a polite smile. Hi. And just like that, every sentence I had rehearsed completely disappeared from my mind. I sat by him for a few painfully awkward seconds. Neither of us said a word. I laughed softly, rubbing the back of my neck. Well, that sounded much better in my head. A quiet chuckle escaped him. I'm sorry, he said, a hint of amusement in his voice. Should I know you? I quickly shook my head. No, not really. One of his eyebrows lifted. Not really. We went to the same middle school. You graduated before me, so I don't blame you for not remembering. His expression softened with embarrassment. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay, I replied with a small smile. We never actually spoke. He nodded. Then how did you know my name? I couldn't help laughing. Ryan, everyone knew your name. He looked genuinely confused. I don't think that's true. Oh, trust me it is. I folded my arms playfully. You were the fastest runner in school. I just liked running. You broke the 100-meter record. I got lucky. You won Best Male Athlete. He groaned, dropping his head dramatically. Can we not talk about that? I burst into laughter. Why? Because Coach Morgan practically turned me into a motivational poster. Trying my best to imitate our old coach, I straightened my posture and deepened my voice. Look at Ryan. That's what discipline looks like. If Ryan can do it, so can you. Ryan stared at me for a second before laughing. Really laughing. The sound caught me off guard. It was warm, natural, and for the first time since I'd seen him by the lake, the sadness in his eyes faded. I can't believe you remember that, he said between laughs. How could I forget? Half the school heard that speech every morning. He shook his head, still smiling. I honestly thought people only watched because it was sports day. No, I met his eyes. They watched because it was you. His smile slowly disappeared. I wasn't anyone special. You really believe that? He shrugged. I just trained harder than everyone else. I smiled. I used to see you running before school. His head snapped toward me. You did? My classroom overlooked the track. He sighed dramatically. So, you saw me dying every morning? I saw someone who never gave up. For a moment, he didn't answer. Instead, he looked back at the lake, watching the evening breeze ripple across the water. You know, I said quietly, what? Everyone thought you had your whole life figured out. A small, humorless laugh escaped him. That's funny. Why? He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Because before every race, I was terrified. I stared at him. You? He nodded. Every single race. I don't believe that. It's true. He smiled faintly. I've stand at the starting line imagining everything that could go wrong. What if I stumbled? What if I started too late? What if I disappointed everyone who came to watch? I blinked. I never knew. Nobody did. The words hung between us. Maybe that was the strange thing about people. We spent so much time admiring the parts they chose to show us that we forget there were pieces they kept hidden. Ryan looked down at his hands. People thought I was confident. Weren't you? He slowly shook his head. I just became really good at pretending. His answer stayed with me. Because maybe confidence was in the absence of fear. Maybe it was simply choosing to move forward despite it. Neither of us spoke after that. The silence wasn't uncomfortable anymore. It felt peaceful, like two strangers who somehow understood each other without needing many words. Then I noticed it. His smile had disappeared again. His fingers tightened around each other. Whatever had been weighing on him when I first arrived hadn't gone away. He'd only forgotten it for a few minutes. I looked at him carefully. I wanted to ask if he was okay, but something told me that if he wanted to tell me, he would. So I stayed quiet. After a long moment, he finally spoke. Diana? Yeah? His eyes remained fixed on the lake. Can I ask you something? Of course. He hesitated. His next words came so quietly that I almost missed them. Have you ever believed someone would always stay? He swallowed, and then suddenly they didn't. I felt my heart tighten. There was a kind of sadness in his voice that no one could fake, and somehow I knew this conversation was about to become much more than two former schoolmates catching up.